for security officers.
As the sun goes.
What's up, security family? Hope you're having a great day. Thanks for tuning in and watching. Really appreciate you guys that have subscribed. Thank you very much. It's always exciting to see a new subscriber on the channel. And I love your comments, guys. When you guys do comment, I love your feedback. And it helps me out. I hope it helps other people out too that read the comments. So anyway, put out a video not too long ago on my psychosis series, and I'm gonna tie in the last video, which was mostly more of a psychology video rather than security, but I wanted to lay the groundwork for this video. And it's we're gonna talk about LEAP and how LEAP can be applied to security officers in dealing with mental health and mental health crisis. So LEAP is an acronym, and it is a method of talking to somebody who suffers from delusions as a result of mental health. And it was this LEAP method was pioneered by Dr. Xavier Amador. He is a doctor, psychiatrist of a little over 30 years, and he actually, this is very personal for him because he had a brother who was suffering from schizophrenia, and the way he was talking to his brother ended up causing him to lose his brother for 7 years, pushed him away, got zero compliance out of him for getting help. And that's how LEAP kind of came about. And once LEAP was applied to as a method of talking to his brother, he was able to reestablish a relationship with his own brother. And his videos are available on YouTube. You can go to their website, the Henry Amador Center for Anosognosia. You can Google that. You can also look on YouTube, search for the video "I'm Sick, I Don't Need Help" if you're interested in learning more about LEAP as it pertains to the medical side of things. But I'm going to try to apply this to security here. So when you're dealing with someone who has a mental illness, and we're going to use schizophrenia as an example because it is very common. There are a lot of schizophrenic diagnosed people out there who are completely capable of living a normal life. So it does not necessarily mean that you are disabled in any way. However, there are some severe cases of schizophrenia out there that go untreated or undiagnosed even. And it's important to start recognizing when you're dealing with a mental health issue. If the person is telling you things that don't make sense or don't align with facts, that's a pretty good indication that they're suffering from some sort of a delusion. It just doesn't, it's a separate reality to them. And as I explained in the previous video, that anosognosia is a side effect or a symptom of the illness that they have, and it prevents them from even comprehending or knowing that they're sick. And this poses a problem because they become combative, even violent when you try to challenge their reality. Just like anybody else, even we would tend to fight if our reality is being challenged. And I gave the example in the last video that if somebody comes up to you and says, points at your mom and says, "That's not your mother," and you have to stop going to her house because she has a restraining order against you, and you need to stop. So you have a lifetime of memories with your mom, and you know in your heart of hearts that is your mom and that nobody can tell you otherwise. However, you're being shown documentation, and you're going to start questioning that documentation. You're going to say that it's fake, it's falsified, and you're going to, most people are going to become very angry and possibly violent over something like this. And that's what we face as security guards when we're confronting somebody who is suffering from delusions. And you can have a bipolar disorder where you'll have delusions, grandeur delusions, people saying that, oh, I'm married to Donald Trump, or along those lines, or they'll say that they work somewhere and they really truly believe that they work at a place when they don't. And so you can come across these type of things, and it's important to know how to talk to them. So let's get started with LEAP. LEAP is an acronym. Listen for the L. We're going to go over listen right now. So it's not just listening that we need to do. It's actually going to be an effective listening with feedback. And this listening, we have to be very careful about how we feedback when we're listening, because we don't want to cast any doubt on the fact that we are listening. We don't want to challenge what they're saying. That is not the objective here at this point. Listening. So when somebody says something like, I work at this place, I'm an employee, I've been working here for 2 years, and I need to get into the facility. And you say, well, let me see if I'm hearing you correctly. You're telling me that you have worked here for 2 years and that you need to get inside this building. That response does not challenge anything that they said, nor does it agree with anything they said. All it is simply confirming to this person is that you listened, because that is the first step in getting them to comply, is letting them be heard and letting them know that you actually listened to them. That's going to bring their defenses down. If you say anything that would indicate that you are doubting what they said, then you are going to cause them to become resistant. They're going to put their defenses up, their guard's going to go up, and it's going to be harder to talk to them. So it's important to not challenge what they said. You don't have to agree. You just have to repeat back what they said in a manner that does not make them think that you are accusing them of lying. Now the next step is in LEAP is the E, and that's for empathize. And it's important to understand that you can empathize with somebody without agreeing with them. You can empathize without allowing them to do something. And that's very simple. All you have to do is say, I am very sorry that this is happening to you, or that, something along these lines. Again, be careful not to challenge or even say it in a way that challenges or makes them believe that you are doubting them or that you are accusing them of lying about the situation. You can empathize. And if you don't truly empathize within yourself, fake it. You can fake it. It's all in the words and all in the delivery. So all you have to say is, I'm very sorry this happens to you. I can understand how you feel. And you can understand how they feel by placing themselves in their shoes. You know that there's something going on in their head. They are not in control of it, and they believe what they believe. And you can empathize with that. You don't have to agree. Now, I've been saying you don't have to agree, and the next step of LEAP is the A, and that is the word is agree. And it doesn't mean that you agree with them. What the agree means in LEAP is you find some common ground to agree on. So, if somebody says they're an employee, been an employee for 2 years, they need to get in the building, you can say something along the lines of, I agree that you understand that you need to get in this building, but I hope we can agree that I have a job to do and I have to verify that you are in fact an employee. So can we agree on holding off right now and figuring this out? And so you've got to be a little creative with this. You got to find some common ground to agree on. One of the common ones that I use in the hospital when I've got a combative patient is when I get to the agree part, I say something along the lines of, well, you came into the hospital for a reason, right? And then usually they'll say yes. And then we'll still talk about what was that reason. And they will either be very confused and not know, or they'll say, oh, well, I was sick about something. And then you say, okay, well, can we agree on just like maybe going back to your room and talking this over with the doctor and maybe not rushing to get out of here quite so quick? And a lot of times they'll agree with that. So you find some common ground to agree on. And you can do this with just about anything. You just got to be creative. You got to be on your toes. So find some common ground to agree on that doesn't necessarily let them do what they want to do, but something that you both can agree on. Now, the last one here is where it starts to get a little more challenging, and the P in LEAP is partner. And this is where it gets a little challenging for security. You have to partner with them on a resolution or on something. You have to align. You both have to align. And of course, this person has to align with what you're wanting to have happen. And that's where it gets challenging. So you've got to be creative. You got to find a way to get them to agree and then to partner. And you come up with a resolution that you agreed on, then you partner up with them and you say, hey, I want to help you out here. Let's get this figured out. Can we do this? And then you get them to agree. And and ultimately, like if it's a trespassing situation, the agreement and the partnering is for them to leave the property and maybe make a phone call and go from there. And if any of this fails along the way with the steps, start over. Go back to the beginning and start over again. The problem with mental illness is that there is nothing you can do to convince them that their delusion is a delusion. They do not know that. They do not believe that. And if you try to challenge that delusion, they will ultimately either become violent or they will become more resistive to what you're trying to accomplish here. So avoid getting into an argument with somebody who is showing signs of a mental illness. You want to make it appear that you are aligning with them, but you're really directing them in a certain way. And it's just important to not argue, because that will just cause them to further resist. Now, originally, the whole L.E.A.P model was made for psychiatrists and people in the psych field dealing with mental illness. It's medical. And so their objective was to partner with a plan of treatment for people, because when they go into an office with a mental illness, they don't know that they have a mental illness. And so why would you take pills if you don't even believe you have an illness? Why would you take any medication if you don't believe you're sick? And so this is a method of getting them to take the medication without resistance. And so I've adapted this to work with security a little more. Also, with a mental health crisis, this is a good way to talk to somebody, because when they're in crisis mode, they're also in fight or flight. So they're only thinking about what's important to their survival. And because they believe a certain way, even if it's not reality, they're going to hold to that and they're going to stick to that, which makes it far more dangerous. So it's important to not challenge their delusion. And to give you an example, this how real this is, doctors have done experiments with people who have had illnesses. And one of them was with a blind person, and they would wave their hand in front of the patient's face and then say, "Did you see my hand?" And they would say, "Yes," or they would say, "No." And they go, "Well, you didn't see my hand? Well, do it again." And they go, "Oh, I can't see your hand because you turned the lights out." They will come up with other reasons why the hand can't be seen, other than the fact that they're blind, like clinically, legally, completely 100% blind. And another person was an amputee, and the doctor would ask him to move the hand that was no longer there, and the person would comply. And the doctor say, "Why didn't you move your hand?" And the patient would say, "I did move my hand." And then he'd go, "Here, do it again." And they'd put it on camera, and they would film it. And then they would show the patient the film, and the patient would accuse the doctors of editing the film, of tying their hand down so they couldn't move. Every other reason other than the fact they had an amputee, and it was not a denial. They were not in denial of being an amputee. It was literally a mental illness, and it was the anosognosia from that mental illness that prevented them from actually knowing that they were an amputee. So that's how real this is, and this is how serious it is dealing with a mental illness. You're dealing with someone's reality here. And anytime you try to challenge someone's reality, you're gonna kick their survival instincts in, and that's where things can get a little dangerous sometimes, because survival is life or death for a lot of these people. So I'm gonna leave it at that. If you have any questions about L.E.A.P, hit me up in the comments, and we'll talk some more. Go check out the other videos from Xavier Amador on YouTube. He's got a website that also links the videos. I'll catch you later, guys. Have a good day. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like, comment, and share. Thank you much.